All right, guys, so here we go. First 48 with the Galaxy Z Fold 4. So, my experience so far has been pretty positive with this device. I did pick up the black version, 512 gig model, and you guys saw in the unboxing, or if you haven't, definitely check that out. And while you're there, just comment and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. We appreciate that support. So Z Fold 4, they definitely made some changes from last year's Z Fold 3. So now the design of the phone a little more squared off, which I don't mind at all. They actually made the outer screen here a little bit wider. So that will come in handy for those that really utilize the outside screen. I don't use it as much, and I'm going to start to blame that on COVID the last 2 years because we all got locked down. So being at home and actually working from home every day now, I find that I just open this thing up and enjoy it to its full glory. So maybe that could be the reason why I don't really care for the front display, but I can definitely see how this can be beneficial to a lot of people that just want a one-handed use device. So it does make it a lot easier to maneuver with one hand, but then when you want to get things done, you obviously open up the device. So the build quality, always A1. Shout out to Samsung for keeping us with a solid product. But I'm still going to say I prefer the larger outside display if I had my way. All right. Speaker quality is still pretty good on this device, pretty similar to the Z Fold 3. So really the major difference, at least in my opinion, is the software, which leads me to say if you have a Z Fold 3, I don't see much of a reason to upgrade at the moment because I firmly believe that they're going to trickle down this Android 12L to the other Fold devices. And it is a really nice piece of software that they added here as far as the multitasking with this taskbar. It makes things so much easier. So the way that this really works is whatever apps you have displayed on the bottom here on your main page is what's going to be part of your taskbar when you go into any one of these apps. So here, for example, if I go into ESPN, now all of my apps that I had on that previous screen are now at the bottom, so I can easily access those. So you can just basically take it and drag it, drop it wherever you'd like, and now you've got the split screen going on. So I really like how they implemented more multitasking ability. I think this is going to have people use it a lot more, or I know I would use it a lot more than I did on the Z Fold 3. I feel like it's easier now. You can, definitely you can have up to 8 as far as I know, because I am using Good Lock where you can adjust how many apps and trays and things that you can have on your home screen. So from what I can see, you can have up to 8 of your favorites down here, and then you can actually double them up so you can have even more. So if you have certain things that you always go to, you can do a split screen like I've got here for Instagram and Facebook. So whatever apps that you utilize the most. So software is really going to be where Samsung is winning, in my opinion. Hardware is pretty nice, but there are some great competitors out there. The Xiaomi phone, the Mi Mix Fold 2 that I've mentioned in previous videos, I think that may be the best piece of hardware, aside from it not being able to do this sort of flex mode is what Samsung calls it. I've seen other people call it like laptop mode, but I know for a fact that that phone can't do this. Now, how often you utilize this is really going to be up to you. I don't know if Xiaomi even has software that could take advantage of putting something in a flex mode like Samsung does anyway. I don't use the phone like this too often. I did that a lot with my Surface Duo, but that device is a lot thinner than this device, and the outside screen, one could argue, is more usable. There's also the Vivo X Fold. I think that is a really good phone still, even though I know the Vivo X Fold S is due to come out But when it comes to software right now, I don't think anybody is touching Samsung. There's just so many different use cases you can have for a device like this that takes full advantage globally. And probably the biggest advantage it has over these other folding devices right now is the ability to have the S Pen. And if you're somebody that wants to utilize this huge canvas, which I think is really the point of having a foldable device, then your only option right now is to get a Z Fold and take advantage of the S Pen. Now, I will say I'm still disappointed that they didn't make a way to have this thing fit inside the device. So hopefully that's coming soon. And I would also like to see them, add the Bluetooth capability to this S Pen. I know you can get the S Pen Pro or whatnot, but that pen is so much bigger than this one. To me, this one is a great size. So if they would have just added Bluetooth, I think that would have made a lot of people happy. But just the software suite that you get with using an S Pen is unmatched right now. So I don't really see anybody coming close to this right now. And if that's the reason why you're getting a folding device, this is key. So make sure you pick one of these up. Now for me, really what kind of intrigues me about these foldable devices, and I've said this in the previous video, my dream device is like a Tab S6 that I can just fold and take with me. And this is probably the closest thing to that idea. So I would prefer a tablet that kind of turns into a phone per se, rather than a phone first that turns into a tablet. So Samsung is really close with this device. I'm a tad bit disappointed that it got a little smaller. So they shaved some off to make it a little bit shorter, I guess to make it a little wider. But if you look at something like the Vivo X Fold, I think that is a great sweet spot to have an 8-inch display when you open this up. This isn't too far behind at 7.6, but giving me more screen real estate is getting me closer to that tablet experience. And that way you can have a device that truly replaces your tablet and your phone at the same time. And you just carry around one device. So maybe they're thinking about doing something like that with that triple fold that I saw rumored. And I know that's kind of like a test or a trial situation right now. I don't know if that's ready for production, but I guess we'll see in the coming months and maybe within the next year or so. But right now, the experience with this device is a positive one. Battery life has been decent. I don't see really a huge jump just yet, but like I said, this is within the first 48 hours of me using the device. I will say that the 25 watt super fast charger is definitely laughable. When I charge this thing up, I've done like one full battery cycle. It took maybe like an hour 15 minutes to fully charge this thing again, which is really not that great when you consider a lot of other companies right now. You can charge your phone 0 to 100 in like 30 to 40 minutes. So Samsung is really behind on that. Maybe they're still trying to be mindful of that Note 7 situation. They don't want anything to explode anymore. So I get that, but we're like several years past that now. So I need them to go back to being more innovative with their battery. Now, I will say with my particular device, I have noticed, well, obviously the crease is still there. It's pretty visible, as you guys can see. So hitting it at different angles is definitely there. But I've also realized that my device doesn't seem to quite go completely flat like my Z Fold 3 did. So I don't know if you guys are having that same experience. You can hit me up in the comments if you are. But for whatever reason, it's really slight, but it doesn't seem to fold completely flat. So I don't know if that's by design. I don't know if that's just my specific device. But either way, it was very noticeable as soon as I took this out of the box. So maybe that'll change with more wear and tear. Maybe the hinge will loosen up a little bit and it'll go flat. But right now, that seems to be my experience. But outside of that, yeah, the screen itself is beautiful. I love the way the colors pop. Samsung still makes the best panels. Like I said, the sound is really good on the device. The speed of this device is really incredible. So the performance with that newer version of the Gen 1, I guess Plus is the newer processor. I would say I can feel it a little bit compared to the original Gen 1. I did notice that my old, where is it, 2K20 does play on here. And if you guys have been following my videos, I had a lot of issues on the Fold 2 and the Fold 3 getting this thing to really play because it just didn't seem to line up very well when I do my touch inputs. But for some reason, I tried it on here and it worked right away. I didn't have to change the aspect ratio at all. It scales very well. Let me just turn this down a little bit here. So I can definitely enjoy this, even though it's a little older now, but I did pay for this game. So I just use it on every device that I get to really test out the performance. And it is very snappy. I don't see any drop frames or anything like that. So that is another thumbs up to Samsung for figuring that out. Maybe making the inner display a little bit larger has helped it scale better. I just don't see the developer going back to a 2020 game and optimizing it for a newer device. So I'm going to have to blame it maybe on the aspect ratio that Samsung is using right now on the Z Fold 4. But the game is still enjoyable. So that's that. So performance is really great on this device. Not a whole lot to complain about with this one. So if you guys are thinking about picking up this device and you don't have a Z Fold 3, I would say it may be worth making this plunge. The camera system I haven't tested out very much just yet. As you guys know, I always say that I'm not a photographer, so don't look for stuff like that coming from me. There's a lot of other people on YouTube that really focus in on the cameras. I really don't. I'll take like a couple of pictures of my dog and things like that, but yeah, but the camera, I'm glad they updated it. It's still kind of a bummer that you don't get the latest and greatest, especially with this price point. But yeah, the Z Fold 4, so far so good. Not very many complaints at all. So if you are on the fence, like I said, I think you would be very happy with this device. All right, until the next one. Peace.